Guys, Jim here. Welcome back once again. Today we're going to take a look at something exciting and new from the world of Remette, something that I don't believe anybody expected. And what we've got here is one of the most solid feeling and safe feeling gravity knives that I've ever experienced. I was fortunate enough to be the first person on YouTube to bring out the Remette XO when it was being debuted. And I really didn't think anybody could do anything any better when it came to a gravity knife until I picked this up. Now, the thing is, I'm not a big gravity knife fan. I figure if I'm going to pay all the money for all this development in this kind of shape, I want it to be an out the front automatic. There is something very fun about opening this up and closing it. It's almost like comparing a manual transmission car to an automatic transmission. There's nothing wrong with the automatic transmission, and it is going to be faster and it's going to be more efficient. But this is more engaging. You get to have a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more interactive between you and your knife. So as I give you the close-ups here in a minute and we discuss the details of the knife, I want you to pay very close attention when I start talking about these two guards or the grips on the side of this frame, because to me, that is the most important part of this entire design and what sets this apart from everybody else. The other cool thing is, for all of you weirdo lefties that like to make excuses,
oh, I'd love to buy that knife, but nobody makes one for the lonely little lefties.
this is lefty friendly. Now, while you can't actually take the pocket clip off and then put it over here, what you do is you actually take the blade out, switch the blade orientation, drop it back in, and you have a left hand or right hand variation. If you have the room to do a nice little wrist flick, it's going to open up for you every time. I've had so much fun with this. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to do this review about a week ago when I first got this knife. And I ended up throwing it immediately in the pocket as soon as I opened it up. That's how excited I was about it. And I wanted to carry it around a little bit and get a real feel for it, because a lot of people got, and I don't want to make only comparisons to the Remette XO, that's not really fair to them, but a lot of people have bought gravity knives and its form factor or the way that it operates just didn't jive well with them. So I wanted to make sure I had a good amount of pocket time with this before I did a review. And then I took a few pictures and put a few up on my social media. And Remette reached out to me and said, hey, do me a favor. Before you do that review, we want to send you out the black DLC version so you can show both of the primary versions in one video. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and wait it out. And that hasn't arrived yet as of the time that I'm recording this intro. And I'm kind of super excited for that because I have really enjoyed carrying this. And when you see the pictures, you're going to see the decorative pattern that's on the front and back side of this. And you're going to think that it's just a flat piece of aluminum or titanium or steel, because you don't know yet. I haven't told you what the material is. And that it's got some sort of laser decoration. It's not. You can actually feel this Cubert board style of decoration that's on the front and the back of this titanium body. And it's so wonderful. It's so different. It's so unique. And I've had so much fun with this thing that for the first time, I'm considering a gravity knife in my standard rotation of carry. I usually keep 7 to 10 knives off to the side in a special case that I keep downstairs by my garage door, where I come in and I dump all my stuff out of my pockets. And right before I leave, I gather all my things up. Those are the things that I'm going to most commonly carry. And for the first time, I think a gravity knife is going to be among them. Now, the other knife that I'm not going to keep mentioning over and over in this video, I still have a great love and appreciation for, and I carried that a little bit as well, but it wasn't one that I wanted to carry a lot because mine was one of the prototypes of the very first version. It didn't have a lock on it, so it was always a little bit sketchy. You were always worried about it opening a little bit. So there was that. This, you have none of those concerns. This blade cannot possibly open up without a concentrated effort by you to slide the switch, which opens these butterfly levers on the side, which have the blade locked in. And then once you have that open, it can't retract or even move. It's completely locked in. Almost feels like a sand shark or a hawk knives deadlock. It's so tight in there. When you're holding it properly, you'll see that this has some concaves and jimping. You're actually closing additional pressure around that lock, so nothing can happen with this blade at all unless you let go of that, slide the switch, and let the blade drop in. So yeah, I like the safety factor, and it works well into the design of the knife as well. I really dig the coffin-shaped frame that reminds me of some very high-end, ridiculously expensive, custom-made out the fronts that are out there. Some stuff that Jeff Harkins has done, some stuff that Burn Knives does, that most mere mortals can't afford. I mean, if you're running around and dropping $4,000 or $5,000 on an out the front, then you know what I'm talking about. But most people aren't going to do that. Here, you don't have to spend anywhere near that. And while it may not be legal for most of the people watching this video right now to own, I think some people are going to take the risk anyway because it's just that cool. Anyway, let's get to the photography and the tabletop review, and we'll look at this version of the Swordfish up against the black DLC version and make some comparisons.
It's not a folder, it's not an auto, it's something quite a bit different. It's got no flipper, it's got no springs, but when that blade flies out, hot damn boy, it rains. It's a gravity knife, you fling that blade up to life, made for the distinguished collector. It's a high-end protector, and probably illegal as hell where you live. Don't assume it's full price, don't be surprised that it's nice. This crazy thing is premium all the way. When you add it to your rotation, you feel the motivation to slide it into your pocket every day. Swordfish, it's a swordfish. Why the hell did they name it the Swordfish? I don't know, but if a new gravity knife is your wish, you better get one before they're all gone, bitch. Yeah, I said that, what you gonna do about it? Not too many were made, it won't take much to persuade. The cost is outweighed by the desire of the collectors who already paid. And no, they won't trade, no compassion displayed. That you just now saw these because my review was delayed. They're not giving up their swordfish, not their swordfish. They don't care that you don't have a swordfish. By the desire of the lectors who already paid, and no, they won't trade, no compassion displayed. That you just now saw these because my review was delayed. They're not giving up their swordfish, not their swordfish. They don't care that you don't have a swordfish. Now there is value of the collectors who already paid, and no, they won't trade, no compassion displayed. That you just now saw these because my review was delayed. They're not giving up their swordfish. Why the hell did they name it the Swordfish? I don't know, but if a new gravity knife is your wish.
All right, here we go. The close-up look at the Remette Swordfish. At $269, this is absolutely the most premium priced knife ever by Remette. Now, these are available at remetteknife.com, as well as our good friends over at pvk.com. If you've never shopped at PVK, first, what the hell's wrong with you? And secondly, you should definitely go support them. They are It's an amazing website. The owner is just a fantastic guy, and I've known them for quite a number of years, and that's a really great place to shop. Now, all that aside, if you happen to go to remetteknife.com, you can use this code right here and save a few bucks. Because I promise you, however you choose to buy this, and wherever you choose to buy it, you're gonna buy it. Because it's just that cool. Now, gravity knives are illegal in many states, cities, counties, so be sure to check the legality before buying one of these, or maybe just don't be a pussy all the time. Now, unlike the previous gotta have it gravity knife, they have perfected a safe method of carrying it in the initial offering, not having to wait for a V2 to come out. This unique lock isn't cumbersome, and it secures the blade in both the closed and the open positions. Now, to further secure it when it's open, these wings right here, let me go ahead and just expand that for you to show you the wings again. They have these recesses built in and jimping, so this is going to be your natural handhold, and these wings are going to be further pressed in tighter by your natural grip. So grip it and rip it, homie. Do what you're going to do. You're going to enjoy the hell out of this thing. Now, the version I have here and that I also showed you in the intro is the natural silver tone color of the titanium with this aluminum foil carbon fiber insert. Now, there's a number of cool things about this knife besides just the fact that it's a gravity knife. Number one, you can swap out these different onlays. Number two, if you are one of those annoying lefties, not the kind with the green hair that protest everything in the friggin' streets, blocking people from getting to work, I mean left-handed knife user, you can simply switch this knife over to being left-handed. Now, I say simply, but it could be simpler. Most companies would have just said, oh, we're going to make this easy. We're going to make the clip removable, and you drop it on the other side, and voila, you have a lefty. Well, that doesn't always work because, things like, switches and things like that it's just not going to work. Plus, you're left with a couple of unsightly holes or a pocket, however it's done, on the front of the knife, which is generally what we call the presentation side or the show side. And that looks tacky and horrible. So, Remette said, we don't want to make it look tacky and horrible. I don't know if they said that or not. I'm just envisioning that was their idea. They didn't want to make it tacky and horrible looking, so the clip stays where the hell it is. What you do is you take the knife apart. It's these two screws. Well, that takes out the onlay. And the two screws back here in the clip, you simply open it up, pull the blade out, flip the blade over. Right now, the orientation is edge down. When the tip is pointed to the left, you would simply pull that out of the mechanism, flip it over where it would be edge up with the tip to the left, and then just simply reassemble it. And now it's going to be built backwards for you backwards people. And I think that's pretty darn fantastic. Now, the unfortunate thing is it's difficult for me to sit here in this very limited space. I have about 10 inches between my camera lens and the surface of this leather covered table. I can't really get the whip out to show you how easy it is to deploy this blade. All you're doing is you are unlocking it, opening the locking wings that prevent the blade from moving, and you're just going to shake your arm out, and the weight of the blade is going to open it up. Or, very simply, as the name implies, use gravity, because it is a gravity knife. But we want to be a little bit cooler than that. We want to make it sound a little bit more awesomer, and we want it to deploy a little bit quicker, so we give it a quick little wrist snap as we slide the switch forward. And it flies open almost as if it were a spring-driven automatic. Now, I have a personal preference here, and I'm going to show that to you right now. And this is also my primary source of aggravation. I was very fortunate to be the first person to bring out, and I don't want to make the comparisons, but the Remette EXO, when it first came out, I was the first person to come out here and show it to everybody. I would have been one of the first or earliest to show you the Swordfish. The unfortunate thing is, when this arrived, I was prepping up for the review. I was all excited. I was playing with it. I carried it for a few days. Those of you that follow me on Instagram, as you should be, had seen me playing with it and carrying it and doing different things for a few days. I was all geared up, raring to go. And then Remette contacted me and said, hey, do us a favor. If you're going to be reviewing this knife, we would really, really appreciate if you would also review the black DLC. So let us send that out to you. Hold on your video until the black DLC arrives. This has been weeks and weeks and weeks I've been waiting. Now, I thank Remette tremendously for considering me and for sending out the black DLC for the purposes of review. I did not have to pay for it. But unfortunately, as a content creator, I do like to be, if not first, at least very early in bringing out significant, cool designs. Unfortunately, I am essentially the last person to bring this out to you. So there is no doubt that you have already seen the Swordfish reviewed by other people. And you've probably already made up your mind whether you want to buy one or not. So at this point, I'm just going to be giving you my personal feedback all the way around. Now, again, my personal preference is the black. And that's kind of hard to say because if you look at the natural titanium, right? The silver tone, if you will, I think it really represents this pattern very, very, very well. It really pops. Now, I want to be very clear. This is not just like some laser etched pattern where it's just etched into a flat piece of titanium. This is textured. You feel the raised areas of this geometric pattern, and it is super cool. It is a really interesting feeling. This one has more of a jigged titanium design going on. I prefer this particular pattern and in this silvery color. However, I prefer this blade. I like the blade window. I like the notch that's in it. And I like the all black look. They did such a beautiful, deep, dark, mysterious black on this. It looks really, really good. I just had to wipe down the blade real quick because it's got a little bit of oil on it. Now, I had also expressed interest in a different color onlay than this one. This is the green and yellow carbon fiber. So they also sent over this red, white, and blue. Now, I was going to switch that out prior to the review. The unfortunate thing is, and this is the one and only bad thing I can say about this knife, I thought that these were T6 screws, T6 Torx. They're not. They're smaller than that. I don't have anything smaller than that. Now, I know a lot of collectors have full Torx sets. I don't. I'm a knife maker. The only Torx I use are T15, T10, T8, and T6. That's it. So, and I don't use a consumer grade kit. I have professional grade tools. I'm not going to go out and spend the money on a bunch of different Torx bits that I don't ever work with, that I have no need for. So I don't have a bit small enough to fit my driver to take this onlay off. For those of you that ever want to swap out the carbon fiber onlays, it's very simple. As long as you have the right tool, all you do is unscrew these two screws. They're basically holding it in by a little bit of tension. I guess it's easier if I just pull this one out and show it to you. There's just little notches. They're not holes drilled all the way through. They're little notches that the screws sit up against that hold it in place. So it's a very simple operation. You're just going to take out the two screws, remove the onlay, put the new onlay in its place, and put the screws back in, and you're done. Doesn't go nowhere. So, for me, the black is where it's at. I really, really, really dig the black. Now that my personal preferences are out of the equation, let's talk more about the actual knives. I'm not really a big fan of gravity knives personally, but the ones that I've handled, I strongly prefer the operation, the feel, and the aesthetic design of the Swordfish. This is, to me, hands down, the best gravity knife I have ever worked with. Now, I don't want to make the comparisons, but everybody else is, so I guess it's unavoidable. This is the same price that the original Remette XO was. That was the original version that did not lock. But apples to apples comparing their locking model with the Swordfish, which locks, this is $30 cheaper than the current made Remette XO. Now, you don't get the wicked cool clickety-clack that the XO has from the mechanics of how it operates. That knife makes you feel like you're performing more movements than you actually are. It's almost like you're flipping a ballad song when in fact you're hardly doing anything at all. This one is much more simplified and may actually be quicker to deploy. And it does have a satisfying sound to it when you whip it out. And quite honestly, I really like this whole operation right here. I think that this is one of the most ingenious designs that I've seen in knife making in quite some time. Let's talk about the specs real quick. Get that back open. I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this. Let's get these off camera and talk about the all-important specs. First off, type of knife, as I mentioned a million times already, is a gravity knife. The overall length, when opened, is 7.83 inches, blade length of 3.2 inches in M390, with a blade stock thickness of 118 thousandths of an inch thick. The handle is actually made of titanium. I know that some people probably have looked at this without looking at the specs and thought, oh, that's got to be aluminum. No, it's actually in titanium. The weight is 4.37 ounces, and the closed length, which would mean handle only, is 4.65 inches. All in all, I love it. I also love how downright ballsy it was for a relatively unknown brand to make a huge leap into this niche category that is quite honestly dominated by Remette. Can you think of any other gravity knives that you're excited about? No, it's really just Remette. And the ballsy move to jump from offering mainly budget knives like the Peacock from $20 to $40 up into premium price knives. But they did it right. It's premium materials, well appointed, beautifully finished. They executed it well. There are no glaring flaws. The finish work is exceptional, and it's a unique knife design overall. So they have earned this newfound popularity. A lot of brands try to make the jump from inexpensive budget products to premium price products, and they don't bring everything to the table that would mean that they're earning that higher price. These guys are doing it. They're doing it in the design. They're doing it in the machining time to make this a little bit more decorative. They're doing it by the appointments like the custom carbon fiber onlays. They're doing it in the mechanical design of this product. They're doing it in the final finishing work. And then, of course, the higher end materials like titanium and M390, not going with aluminum, which I think honestly would have been the natural choice by a lot of brands. They did it right. They've earned it, and I'm super happy for them. And I didn't see it coming. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've had the opportunity, not for a long time, but fairly early on with Remette, to review a few of their knives and share those with you guys. But that has always really been for a different audience, the audience that wanted the Peacock, that wanted a $25 knife that they can run around and beat up and feel no guilt. I never expected to see them make the jump into premium products, especially not a uniquely designed premium product. Completely caught me by surprise. And they've done it so damn well. By the way, look at how they did the lanyard spot back here. Instead of putting a hole through the frame, you've got these two small notches cut out in the center of the knife sandwich, as it were. And you can attach a lanyard there if you are a lanyard person. If you're not, it doesn't make the knife look ugly in any way. It just kind of goes with the overall aesthetic. I think that they knocked this out of the park, and I couldn't be any happier for them. I'm sure they worked a long, hard time on this, and I'm sure they were nervous as hell about trying to break into a niche market and break into a premium price segment. Those are two very, very scary things if you're manufacturing a product. You are out of your comfort zone for sure in every possible way. And whoever designed this, whoever works for the company and designed this and pitched it to the people that make those decisions, can you imagine how difficult it was to have that first meeting and go, listen, hey, I know we're making $25 knives. I know they're doing really well for us, but I want to make a $270 knife with such intricate mechanics that we're going to have to tool up differently. We're going to have to train our machinists and the knife assemblers from the ground up on how to do just this one knife that will not share any parts or anything with any other knife that we make. So it's 100% upfront, high costs, changing out all the tooling, using different materials, because machining titanium is not the same as machining steel. Even using a different grade of steel, M390 versus, please forgive me, I've forgotten, it's been so long since I reviewed the Peacock, what material that was. If I can think of it, I'll put it up on the screen here. But everything that we know about knife making, I want to stop and change entirely to make one model of knife. That had to be nerve-wracking to go into that meeting with whatever powerful people are in this company that make those decisions and make such a bold request. I think it's awesome. But that's just how I look at it. Maybe it was a lot simpler than that. Maybe it was the owner of the company that went, hey, I want to take this in a new direction. I want to do something different. And who's going to battle me? I'm the boss. I don't know. I don't know how the company operates. All I know is that the operation of the knife is pretty kick-ass. And it carries well, too. Yeah, it's got a little bit of weight to it, 4.3 ounces. It's not, super lightweight, but it's also not a tank either. The pocket clip works fantastic. I don't know why they felt the need to do these silly slip cases. And I call them silly because they're very difficult because of the way this front is separated. They're very difficult to get the knife into. Come on, get in there. I mean, I don't get this. I don't understand it at all. I'm never, ever, ever going to use this. This clips into your pocket like any other normal knife. Especially if you already carry like coffin style out the front automatics. This is not anything new or different to you. It's going to carry just as easily. I like the pocket clip. They did a really good job with it. Nice 3D milled pocket clip. Works exceptionally well. Like I said, I've carried this one now for several days. Couple of weeks. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Now that the black one has arrived, I'm switching over. I like the black a lot. I love the dark, sinister look to it a lot. Again, I really like the old Cubert pattern going on here. And I love the raised 3D texture of it. Now, there's obviously a texture here that you feel, but it's dimples, it's depressions. This is raised. So what I'd say is, aesthetically, black is the clear winner. For me, it's a personal thing. But if you like to touch it, if you like to rub it, and if you want it to feel good, then you're probably on a different website than YouTube right now. Then this is probably the way to go, is the silver tone version, the standard titanium versions. But either way you go, I think that they're fantastic. They're so well made. I'm still having a hard time processing that I'm sitting here talking about a Remette knife at $270 and being able to say, yeah, it's worth every penny. And it's really, really, really well done. So there it is. That's my final verdict on this knife. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. That sounds like a silly thing to say. But as I look at my analytics, there are a lot of you that come over and watch my videos that aren't current subscribers. So please help me grow the channel. And don't forget also, I have two main channels now. I have the Jim Skelton Knives. I also have the A to Z EDC. And I try to put a lot of the videos that I'm doing on my main channel also on A to Z EDC, because there's a lot of crossover in the EDC community. So subscribe to both. I am going to start making more unique content just for that channel once that one has grown a little bit. You know, it's not fair to take, say, like a knife like this that I think is fantastic, that I want everybody to see, and then putting it on a channel that only has a few hundred subscribers. You know, that's not really fair to the brand. So I want to grow both channels, and I want to get the word out there that there are some great brands doing some really kick-ass stuff, and Remette is now absolutely one of them.